My name is Tino. I'm the manager of music investment at Sound New South Wales, and I have the amazing
Rosie.
and today we are here to talk about the new iteration of the venues upgrade grants, specifically advice and planning, which is this one here we're here to talk about. So first of all, I just want to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land, as well as pay respects to elders past and present. Okay, so moving forward, just to give you an understanding what we're going to be talking about in this presentation, we're going to be talking about the new iteration of the grant and what that looks like, and I'll talk about some of the other venues upgrade grants as well, just to give you some context. We're going to be talking about the objectives of the grant, the eligibility and the eligibility criteria, as well as the assessment criteria, a bit about the application process, FAQs. And we're also going to have the someone from Green Music Australia come in and present just a little bit about the organization, as well as what a sort of a sustainability report will look like. And then we'll have Q&A at the end. So just to give you a bit of a spiel about Sound New South Wales, so obviously we are the state's industry development office that provides leadership, advocacy, investment, strategic initiatives, and policy development. All in all, just ensuring that New South Wales is a safe environment for artists and individuals who want to work in the music space, as well as a growing industry. Again, it is the state's only music dedicated office. In 2024 to 2025, we invested in about $15 million in the contemporary music space, so ranging from things from the Venues Unlocked program, tour and travel, strategic funding, festivals, and other recording and promotions grants. And yeah, so look, we're a growing organization. We've done, I feel like in 2024, 2025, it was a good year. It was a good year for us in terms of the amount of individuals in the music space we were able to support. And moving into 2025, 2026, we're hoping to increase that and I guess, have a bit more targeted support for music organizations. So when we're talking about the new Sound New South Wales 2026 Venues Unlocked program, basically from the feedback that we've had from the last iteration, we wanted to change up the grants a little bit. So this year we're going to have 3 separate programs. So we have advice and planning, which is the one that we're talking about now. We're going to have infrastructure and equipment. And then the third program is advanced screening and development. So that's more for visitor experiences. So this all came off the back of feedback that was given to us. And one thing about advice and planning is that it's going to be run twice in a financial year. So it's going to be running now. So it's open now, then it will close in December. And then it will be run again at the start of March. With a start of March again. So it's going to be run twice. So let's just say, for example, if you apply for this iteration and you're not necessarily successful, just remember that there is another iteration that's going to be available in March. And that sort of came off the feedback that, individuals thought that, based on, the time that it's run, that it might be better if we also have another option for that March period so that venues have a bit more flexibility in the winter. And all in all, just again, supporting other venues as well, noting that a lot of the works that need to be done, whether that be DA applications, different sort of reports that help legal costs, that, we have, different parts of the year to sort of share that funding. So let's talk about a program overview. So basically the program objectives. So the program objectives for this grant is to support the New South Wales live music venues to achieve best practice in sound management and infrastructure, to support and revigorate the live music industry, to enhance and expand the number of live music options for New South Wales, and to build businesses and community confidence in the live music industry space. So these objectives, and when you look at the guidelines and when you go into the application, the objectives are going to be extremely important because you need to make sure that the project plan that you develop has to align with the program objectives. So again, when you're creating that what's called the project plan, through whatever the plan is or whatever you want to do, you just need to ensure that it aligns to what the program objectives are. In terms of the results, so this is what we would like to see in terms of the results of the applications and the individuals that we support in this program. So an increased number of fit for purpose live music venues, an increased sector knowledge and expertise in best practice, the reduction of sound impact for neighbors, leading to less sound complaints and increased business viabilities, as well as an increase in the diversity of live music offerings for our audiences. So this is basically the key information for program one. Also, I know I just literally just said this, but just noting that this is going to be run twice in a financial year. So the grant is up to $20,000, and funding can be used for things like assessment reports to support DA applications, legal services and licensing consultants, as well as energy and efficiency audits as well. There's also different types of other audits within the venue, whether that be more so sustainability led, accessibility led as well. So those audits will also be taken into consideration. And if you have a question just in regards to the type, if let's just say you're looking for an audit report or a legal service or a particular type of DA application, and it's not necessarily highlighted on the guidelines, you can just reach out to us and we'll be able to give you a bit more clarity on whether it'll be eligible for funding or not. So this is just a bit more information on the eligibility criteria. And obviously things to take into consideration. And I always say, make sure you read the eligibility criteria first, because you want, there's no point getting in and doing a whole bunch of work if you're not eligible for the venue. So you want to make sure and ensure that you're eligible first. So these are some of the eligibility criteria. So, being an incorporated entity, be registered with New South Wales Fair Trading, hold a lease or occupancy agreement with at least 2 years remaining, provide support letters from the building owner, have majority Australian ownership, as well as hold a one music license for live music performances. So eligibility, so who can't apply? So any business or organization that does not satisfy the eligibility requirements, any business or organizations located outside New South Wales, venues with more than 10 gaming machines, venues with exclusive memberships, venues owned either by the government, whether that be local, state, or federal, or educational providers, Returned Service League of Australia, religious institutions and venues unable to contribute 30% of the overall budget. So again, I think the most important thing is just to make sure that you look at the eligibility criteria. And if any of this is unclear, or if you have any questions, or for example, you feel like your venue sits just on the edge of anything, just contact us and we'll be able to give you a bit more clarity in terms of what you can and cannot do. Now, the application process, and I think I jumped on a bit early and I was talking a lot about the terminology and using different phrases, but this is just sort of just a bit of, I guess, a venue's upgrade dictionary in terms of some of the things that we mean. And I think it's very important that, we talk about it just so you know the language that we're using, and just so we're all on the same page. So, for example, a project plan details how you use the funds, what activities you will be doing, how you will measure and report your progress. Then you have a budget, which is obviously, a budget, but more specifically in this circumstance, it's, a bit of a financial plan for the project that details expenses as well as the 30% contribution. And again, I know this sounds very simple, but make sure your budget totals the same amount of expenses and income. Your budget has to balance, because take in consideration when this goes to the assessors, they're looking at your project plan, but they're also looking at your budget. They need to make sure that the money that you're applying for and the things that you're asking for are aligned. So just make sure that everything balances. And again, if you have any questions just around the budget and things you need to take into consideration, whether you have a question about the 30% contribution, again, just reach out to us and we'll be able to help you as well. And yeah, so obviously talking about the 30% co-contribution, as well as the outcomes. And what we mean about the outcomes are the achievements you anticipate as a result of delivering a project. And just to let you all know as well, we'll be able to send you all the PowerPoint to your emails. Everyone who signed up, we can send you an email of the PowerPoint. So if you're writing notes, again, we'll send you the PowerPoint and with all the information.
And you can watch it online as well.
And you'll be able to watch it online because it's recorded. It's even better. Application checklist. So again, these are some of the tips that I think this is what these informations hold value in. Just because this saves you from making some of the mistakes that we feel like some of the applicants previously have made, which does impact your assessment at the end of it when they are with the assessors. So number one thing I always say to everyone, the number one thing, make sure you start your application early. Don't leave it to the last day and don't leave it to 3 hours before or 2 hours before. One, anything can happen from a technology perspective. Anything can happen, for example, from an internet perspective. There's a lot of factors that can happen in the last couple of hours that will prevent you from being able to present, the best, application as possible. And, this grant, it does take a bit of effort and there's a few things that you need to gather in terms of information. So I do not recommend you try to submit this in the last couple of hours because unfortunately, once that time hits, it is closed. So please make sure you submit it in the correct timing. So another thing to note, outline your experience in delivering contemporary music programming. Your track record is going to be extremely important. The assessors want to see that, for example, if you want to increase your capacity to put on live music, that you have been trying to do it previously before. So make sure you talk about, for example, even if there's a part in the application at the bottom where it allows you to upload supporting material, even if that's posters, or if you have, for example, cut out what some people will do is they'll screenshot their social media and they'll screenshot all the different shows that they have, just showing a track record that this is something you've been doing previously and something that, you basically have experience in doing. So make sure that you talk about your experience and try to show evidence.
A common question that we get to around showing the evidence is letters of support and how many letters of support. I think the most important thing when to consider the letters of support is that you have a broad range and you're showing the impact with from those perspectives, whether it be local government, whether it be a booker or a promoter you've worked with, but as well like a local artist and how your venue and your programming has impacted them specifically is great. So just make sure it's not about the number of letters, it's about the number of perspectives that you can showcase.
Mm-hmm. And also, that being said, looking at all the amazing venues and people on this call, everyone comes from diverse, areas within the music space, different genres, different areas, different parts of New South Wales. So really showcase that. We want to hear about you. We want to hear about your venue. We want to hear about show off the work that you've been doing. Talk about how significant your community is. Talk about how significant your venue is. This is, when this question comes up, this is your opportunity to talk to us about, the impact that you're having in the community. Because at the end of it, when the assessors are looking for it, if they don't, for example, know where your venue is, and you do a great job of explaining, the significance and the diversity of your venue, that really helps them remember, oh, you know what? I remember that amazing venue and I remember how they talked about the impact that they have for the community. So again, sometimes, when we're in grant applications, we're so caught up in the numbers, we're so caught up on what the project plan is that a lot of venues forget to talk about their venue. They forget to talk about, the community that they're servicing. So make sure you talk about that and don't be shy. I know sometimes it may be, it seems like you're bragging, but really you're not bragging. You're just talking about all of the outcomes in your track record. And also let's, outline very specifically and very clearly how the grant will support and support improvements that enable the venue to be fit for purpose. And I guess this also goes back to your program, program plan as well. Is that sometimes we get into a bit of a word salad that you're actually not talking about what you want to do, right? Whether it is a DA application where it is a report, clearly say what you want to do. So when people are reading it, they're very clear in what your intention is, right? So we have the program objectives, we have the program plan, and we have the program budget. That's what an assessor will look at and read and make an assessment of your application.
Yeah, I think Tino's hitting on a really good point here, especially when it comes to something like a DA application. Your venue may not have been visited or known by an assessor. So outlining like what this current situation is and then what it is exactly that needs to be adjusted is like key in showing not only the impact of the grant if it's successful, but also the need, which are both key criteria here.
Yeah. Also, just quickly, a quote for advice or whatever you're applying for. So just making sure you have a quote, as well as the budget, including 30% cash co-contribution. And again, if you have any issues, with the budget or, understanding the 30% cash contribution, how to include that, you can just contact us and we can help you walk through it. Again, just talking a little bit about the things that you need to make sure you have, support letters, a copy of a lease or deed to premise, with the lease having at least 2 years remaining, a detailed project plan with quotes and a detailed budget. So these are the main things that you need to make sure that you have within your application. And that's why I say that sometimes, it'll be extremely difficult to do this in the last 2 hours of the grant being open and closed. So it's better that you start it early, just so you can make sure. And it's not about, just, getting the information. You want to read through the documentation as well. Oftentimes what people do sometimes is they'll send us a copy of their lease. They even haven't read their own lease, and the lease is only for a year, right? Which just creates a lot of complexities at the end of it. And it's something that, for example, we could have just had a conversation with when there is time, and you could have answered majority of the questions. Some of the key dates moving forward. So the key dates include applications on the 21st of November. It closes on the 22nd of December at 11 a.m. After that, there's 4 weeks after the application. That's the assessment period. So 4 weeks after the application close date. And then the project needs to start after the 1st of March 2026. And must be completed prior to the 1st of June 2027, which is essentially this one financial year. And yeah, so these are just some tips to success. And again, we talked a little bit about this throughout the presentation, but something that we really want to make sure we hammer down on is, first of all, address the grant criteria in response. Talk about the objectives. Talk about the assessment, talk about the objectives, but also if you guys haven't done this, have a look at the Sound New South Wales strategy. Go on soundnewsouthwales.com, read what our strategy is, read what Sound New South Wales are trying to achieve over the 10-year period, read what they want to do when it comes to venues. Just have an understanding of what Sound New South Wales are basing all of the pillars and all of their work in. If you have a general understanding of that, you will have a general understanding of what our objectives are as a company, as an organization. So yeah, make sure you read that. Again, making sure you have a solid team, make sure your contact details are correct and regularly monitored. You'll be surprised how many people put incorrect numbers, incorrect emails. Now, we don't have your contact details. You've been successful for a grant. We have to now go on your website, go on your Instagram, send you a DM. All of that adds time, and you don't want that. When you can clearly put the best contact email and the best contact number. Most importantly, if you need help, reach out. With my experience, the organizations who reach out early, ask for help, I'd always say there's no stupid questions. Please ask us for help. If you have any questions and you just want some context, some people call us, just for yarn, just wanting to know what's happening in the space. But at least if you do that, we'll be on the same page, and we can at least be able to guide you on, what a successful application looks like. Again, read the guidelines. We also have FAQs which are available on the Sound New South Wales page, which are basically just the most common questions that people ask us. So make sure you read that as well, because you might answer some of your questions. Again, start your project early. Have an understanding of what you want to do, right? It's not on the assessors or Sound New South Wales to know what you want to do. You have to clearly express that throughout your application. And yeah, so ensure you have access and evidence of co-funding, which is the 30% of the overall project cost plus a 10% contingency. Now, a lot of people ask us why that 10% contingency is. Well, as you may know, a lot of you are moving forward with infrastructure costs. So a lot of costs that you're going to be taking into consideration, they might change, right? So we want to make sure that you have at least a buffer of a contingency to ensure that if something goes wrong, that you are protected most and foremost, because you don't want to be in a situation where you've applied for a $20,000 grant, but now you are somehow out of pocket by another $20,000. So just making sure that you have enough money to protect yourself if anything goes wrong. Again, some more tips. Identify your venue's impact to the contemporary live music ecosystem. Identify how your project will benefit the music ecosystem. Again, and just sourcing your documentation. Some other tips, complete the application in full. Ensure financial information is accurate. Write clearly using plain English as well. This is not going to be an essay, so it doesn't have to be sort of a word salad. So just make sure that everything is clear and concise. Make sure you attach all of the required supporting documentation, and it's actually, for example, attach it, but also make sure that you can open it and you can read it as well. You don't want a situation where you've attached a document and then we open it and there's an error or it's a corrupted file. So making sure that you upload the correct documents. And yeah.
Oh, and just also, just join the documents where you can. It's like super frustrating for assessors if there's 20 different small documents that have to open. I think on this application, there's 3 max files that you can upload, and the intention behind that is so that it's just easy for them. And if it's easy for them, they're in a good mood and while they're reading your application, which is great for everybody.
Also, if you can, this is nothing in terms of checking, and this is why you need to put in your application again. Once you finished it, I always say it's always good practice to allow someone else to read it. And then the question you can ask this is, does this make sense? Do you know what I'm applying for? And do you feel like I've added enough evidence? So again, make sure you're actually checking your application. Don't just finish it and then press submit. Finish it, save it, review it, and then press submit. Yep, sort of covers it. And again, this is all available on the Sound New South Wales website. But for example, can I apply for funding in more than one program? Yes, you may. But obviously, please be mindful that there will be a second round of advice and plan this financial year. So don't overload yourself with simultaneous applications unnecessarily, and focus on the best grant for your venue. So that being said, noting that we have advice and planning that's open, we have infrastructure and equipment that's open, we have advanced screening that's open. You don't need to apply for every single grant. Get an understanding of where your business is. Get an understanding of what specifically you want to do, whether that be soundproofing, whether that be a DA application, whatever it is, and then decide which one you're going to apply for. Can I use in-kind contribution for this grant? No. For advice and planning, your grant contribution must be in cash. Obviously, you submit your application through Smarty Grants. And will there be follow-up evaluations post-grant? Yes, Sound New South Wales may contact grantees after 3 years after funding to evaluate program outcomes and impact. So look, that's a bit from me, but essentially what we wanted to do is we wanted to give you an example of, a great organization or organization that we've funded through another one of our program, strategic funding. I feel as if the organization has done a lot for venues over the last about year and a half. They're called Green Music Australia, and we are fortunate to have the amazing Emma here to just talk a little bit about Green Music Australia, some of their the green certification, which helps venues. And yeah, so I'll let Emma take it from here.
Thanks, Tino. Hey, everyone. I'm dialing in from Gubbi Gubbi country down the Sunshine Coast. I'm really grateful that Sound New South Wales gave us this opportunity to have a chat. As Tino mentioned, this year we piloted a Green Venue program. And for those of you that don't know, Green Music Australia is an Australian charity, a not-for-profit organisation. We kind of run on two different streams. One is to help musicians feel empowered to use their cultural power for greater good. And the other stream, which is where I base a lot of my time on, is helping the Australian music industry decarbonise, as well as make environmental improvements, which isn't always decarbonising, but it's doing something that is supporting their business to do better work for the planet. Yes, so Sound New South Wales funded our Green Venue program this year, and the program had three main streams. One was to publish a Green Venue guide, which is available for free on our website. It's almost 40 pages long, and it has lots of amazing case studies of venues doing really great things in our country and in New South Wales. And it goes through lots of different areas, including First Nations First, energy consumption, waste reduction, operations, policies and procedures. And to help that launch, we ran half a dozen workshops in the state of New South Wales, both in the city of Sydney and regionally, to help music workers understand the guide a little bit more, but we also ran them through a live energy audit. In addition to this, it was a pretty big program. 9 venues in the state ran through our Green Venue certification program. So the certification had up to 7 questionnaires. Obviously, not every venue sells food or has merchandise, so they weren't required to complete every questionnaire, but it was quite broad and quite stringent. And thank you for updating that slide. They're the 9 venues who participated in that program, and their scores can be seen on our website. Now, the main reason we did the certification was we were getting actually quite a bit of demand, not only from the venues themselves who were doing really great work and wanted to be recognised, but also through artists and labels who wanted to be booking tours at the venues that are doing the right thing. I'm sure you're all very well aware that booking tours is a pretty time-consuming thing. And if an artist is really, swayed towards environmental action, they want to know which venues to book. So those scores are now available on our website and will continue to be as we expand the program. And we're also hoping, as AMIN expands the regional touring network across the country, those scores will be available on there as well. Okay, what's the next slide we got there? Yeah, so as well as the score, the venues receive a report from us. So when people are filling out the questionnaires, not only are they answering a question with numbers or words or telling us what they do, they have to provide advice, as well as 12 months worth of electricity and waste data. And with that waste and electricity data, we're able to tell them multiple amounts of things. Are they paying too much compared to their counterparts? Is their energy use way higher per square metre? You can see those graphs there. I mean, it's pretty hard probably to tell from looking at that, but when it's your venue, you certainly can tell what you are doing well and what you're not doing well. And in waste, we can talk about what different waste streams there are. But one particular thing that we're really interested in with waste is diversion rates. There was only one venue in that pilot. Congratulations, La La La, for reaching the New South Wales target of 80% diversion rate. So there is quite a lot of work to be done across the state, both in energy and emissions reduction and getting more waste into recycling. And those reports help you work out what that is. The diversion rate for New South Wales is 80%, so we could see that venues have a long way to go there. And there's also going to be a phased rollout of food and organic waste across the state. So what we were seeing is about half of the venues who were selling food were using organic waste streams and composting it in the proper way, but half weren't. So there's definitely work to be done there. And obviously emissions reduction too is a massive thing. Through that work, we provided Sound New South Wales with a venue health check report for the state. And we worked out that if every venue in the state did what we suggested, and I can go through some of those points in a minute, the state's live music venues could save together $1.5 million a year and 70,000 tonnes of emissions just through some really quick changes such as renegotiating their electricity contracts, doing proper maintenance on their refrigeration and air conditioning, as well as upgrades when needed. So on average, it was around 10.5 grand per year per venue, with a really small upfront fee for small venues and a bit more considerable for larger venues. But it certainly is a great thing to be doing, not only for the planet, but also for the bottom line, which is, you know, always great to see. Yeah, so now that we've done the pilot, we got some great press from that, and you know, venues really do use it to their advantage by, you know, contacting your local papers and your radio and that sort of thing. Now that we've done that pilot and received that feedback from those 9 venues, the program is open to any music and cultural venue in the state, and I would welcome anyone to drop me a line or give me a call to have a bit more of a discussion, and most certainly to check out that venue guide because there's some really great tips in there as well. I think that's probably my quick 5 minutes, but yeah, thanks again for having me. My email's on that slide. If you want to jump on a call or an email, please drop me a line, but thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks,
Emma, do you want to pop your email in the chat too?
Oh, yeah, no problems.
Yes, definitely. And again, we will send everyone in this chat this email, and we'll have these slides as well, Green Music Australia slides, as well as Emma's detail in those slides, as well as in the chat. I think it's definitely an amazing initiative. Definitely have a look at it. Again, as Emma said, any reduction in the bottom line is a good reduction. So I think this is an amazing initiative. So that sort of leads us to the end of our session. So right now we are, we sort of want to open up the chat to some Q&As. Do you have anything in the chat already?
Not yet.
Yeah. So if anyone would like to ask a question, if you could just put the question in the chat and then we will answer it.
You can raise your hand if you feel more comfortable talking. Always an option. Just to let you know as well, we've got another one of these next week on is it the 10th?
Yep.
The Wednesday the 10th. And in that we will be discussing the infrastructure and equipment grant, which is the other available closing early February next year, 2026. So you've got a little bit longer on that one.
Yeah.
Tina, you must have done really well. No one has.
Yeah, no one has any questions. Okay. Well, I was trying to talk less, but I think I talked a lot more than what I expected. But this is a good, I think we did okay. But again, if you have any more, I guess, questions that align to specifically your venue, just literally send us an email. We'll set up a call, or we will shoot you an email, or we can help you send examples so you can understand what's going on, or answer any of the questions. But it looks like we're probably at the end of our session. What I would say is, again, the info@soundnewsouthwales.gov.au is the general Sound New South Wales email. The venue supports the program. The program that obviously is advice and planning. You can reach out to the amazing Rosie, and then she will get to you. as soon as possible, either through email or she'll set up a call for you. And please, if you want to stay up to date with any of the Sound New South Wales grants which are opening up, anything that's happening from a Sound New South Wales perspective in terms of the grant, some of the organizations we are supporting. So what we like to do is, for example, Green Music Australia, we like to bring in organizations that have been with us, that we've helped fund, but also add a lot of value to the music ecosystem. Those are the type of things that are going to be on the newsletter. So make sure you subscribe. And yeah, we'll get over there. But yeah, look, thank you all so much. We really appreciate your time. Again, send us an email, chat to us, and we look forward to your applications, which hopefully will come in soon. And do not leave them late.
Just quick answer to Rachel's question that's popped in. The registration link to the infrastructure and equipment is available on our FAQs page on our website. So I'm going to pop that in, but that's got the Humanitix link in it for next week. So yeah, I'll just pop that on there now.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And we will talk to you all soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.